Hello, welcome to section 9.3. We're going to talk about something called the law of sines, and the objective is to solve a non-right triangle. So we are no longer talking about triangles that have right angles. We're talking about any type of triangle now. And actually the law of sines works with a right triangle or a non-right triangle, but we're mainly going to be talking about the non-right triangle. Okay, so it's called the law of sines. You don't have to worry about this picture yet. So basically what you have to first do is we gotta learn what the law of sines is, okay, and how we label our triangles. So it's the labeling of the triangles is still the same. Nothing has really changed here. Angle A is across from little a. Okay, so angle A and side A are across from each other. Angle C and side C are across from each other, and angle B and side B are across from each other. Remember, always to use capital letters for angles and smaller case letters for the sides. Okay, so the law of sines says that you can take the sine of your angle and divide it by your side, matching A and little a, and you can do the B's the same way and the C's the same way as that. Now, you're only using two of these at a time. You're never going to have to use but three of them at a time. You're only using two. But they're always equal to each other. Okay, so basically what you're having is two fractions and they're equal to each other. Okay, so this really won't make much sense until we do a couple of examples. Okay, so sine of angle A over little a is equal to sine of angle B over little b, which is equal to sine of angle C over little c. Okay, so let's get right into this. Let's start talking about what needs to take place in order for law of sines to work. Law of sines doesn't always work. Okay, there are three cases where law of sines works. The first one is angle, angle, side. Okay, so if I give you two angles that are next to each other, and then a side, this would be an angle, angle, side case. So you would be able to use law of sines in this case. The second one is angle, side, angle. Okay, let's say I gave in two angles next to each other and the side in between them. Say, notice the difference. The first one is angle, angle, and then a side. This one is the angle, a side, and then an angle. So this is your angle, your side, and your angle. And then everyone's favorite law of sines problem are the angle and then two sides next to each other. So this is the donkey postulate or the angle, side, side postulate. Okay, hopefully you get the donkey joke. All right, so these are the only three cases where you can use law of sines. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to focus only on the first and the second case. Okay, we're going to save the donkey postulate for part 2 because they're a little bit more difficult and we have to get into a little more information. Okay, so we're going to do two examples, one angle, angle, side, and then one with angle, side, angle. Okay, so example 1. Solve the following triangle using the law of sines. Okay, so every time we solve a triangle, I want you to list your three angles. Oops, let me do a bit better job with that. All right, so we have angle A, angle B, angle C, all capital letters, and then we have little a, little b, little c. Okay, so let's list what we know. We know angle A is 110 degrees. We know angle B is 20 degrees, and we're given little c, which is 25 centimeters. Okay, now this is a law of sines. Now, this is the problem. In order to do law of sines, you need one complete set, either an angle and a side. So notice, we have angle A, but we don't have little a. We have angle B, but we don't have little b. We have little c, but we don't have angle C. But really, we do have angle C. Okay, we really do have it. It's just not listed. We do know that 110 plus 20, we do know that 110 plus 20 is equal to 130. How do we figure out what angle C is now? 180 take away 130 should be 50 degrees. So we actually do know that angle C is 50 degrees. Now, once you have a set, now that we have a set of an angle and a side, we can now use the law of sines. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a law of sines problem. All right, so we're going to use the set that we have. We know that we have 50, so sine of 50 over 25 is equal to, and then we're going to do one of these two. Okay, we're going to do one of these two. It really doesn't matter which one you pick to do first. Okay, it really doesn't matter. I always usually choose to do the bigger of the two, so we're going to do the bigger of the two first. So sine of 110 over little a, which we don't know. Okay, look if you look here, we don't know angle A, or side A, sorry. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this just like we would do any other fractions. We're going to cross multiply. Okay, 25 times the sine of 110 is equal to sine of 50 times A. Sine of 50 degrees times A. And then now what do we need to do to finish this up? Our goal is for A, so we're going to divide by sine of 50, divide by sine of 50. And if you notice, sine of 50 over sine of 50 is 1, just like any other problem where you have the same thing on the numerator and the denominator. So now when I get that, now I have A is equal to. This problem right here is now strictly all done on your calculator. So let me show you how to do that on the calculator. I'm going to pull up my calculator here. Alright, so let's see what we have here. We have 25 times sine of 110 on the top, 25 times sine of 110 degrees. I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to divide that by what? What's on the bottom? Sine of 150. Sine of 50. Sine of 50. And then I hit enter, and it should give you an angle of 30.667, so I'm going to round that to 30.67. 30.67 is my little a. Okay? So I can go back up to my triangle, and now I know that my side A is 30.67. 30.67. Alright? So now, the only other side I need now is little b. Okay, we have little a, we have little c. We need to find little b. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up the exact same type of problem that we just did. We're going to use our sine of 50 over 25 that we use with the c's, and then we're going to do our b one. Sine of angle b, which is 20 degrees, over little b, which we do not know yet. Alright? Now we're going to cross multiply again. Okay, let's see here. Sine of 20 times 25. Sine of 20 times 25 is equal to sine of 50 times b. Sine of 50 times little b. And then how do I get b by itself? I need to divide by sine of 50 again. Divide by sine of 50. So sine of 50 over sine of 50. Sorry, sine of 50 over sine of 50 cancel each other out. Those are 1. So I'm left, what is going on here? Sorry. So I'm left with b is equal to sine of 20 times 25 divided by sine of 50. And we're going to type that right in on our calculator. Alright, so let's see here. Sine of 25, sine of 20, and I'm getting that from up top, times 25. I would do just the top and then divide it by the bottom. Enter, I get 8.55, and then we're going to divide that by the sine of 50, close your parentheses. And little b is 11.16. 11.16. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to finish it off 11.16. Now, why I have you do all of this up at the top is we can now see that our biggest angle is across from our biggest side, our second biggest angle is across from our second biggest side, and our smallest angle is across from our smallest side, and that should always work. Okay, so this is an example of angle, side, angle. Okay, that's an angle, side, angle example. Okay, let's look at example 2. Alright, so example 2. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of changing here because I want to change this problem to be an angle, angle, side. I want this to be an angle, angle, side. So up in the top, I want you to write angle, angle, side. Alright, so I'm going to, instead of, let me change this, instead of b equaling to 8, I'm going to let c equal to 8. Oops, 8. Okay, so on your sheet, I want you to fix that typo. All right, so we're going to do this problem the same way. I'm going to list my two sides here, my three angles, A, B, C, little a, little b, little c. All right, and then we're going to list what we know. All right, we know that angle C is 55 degrees. We know that angle A is 30 degrees. And we know that little c is 8. All right, so main thing you should notice is that we do have a set here. We have our C's, and we have an angle A. So the first thing we need to figure out is the only other one that we don't have for the A's. Okay, so we're going to use these two first. All right, let's set up our law of sines down here below. So sine of 55 degrees divided by 8 is equal to sine of 30 degrees for our A, all over little a, which we don't know. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply again. 8 times sine of 30 is equal to sine of 55 times A. And then what are we going to divide by to get A by itself? We're going to divide by sine of 55 degrees, divide by sine of 55 degrees. Remember, that's 1. So A is equal to, and then this now turns into a big calculator problem where you just have to type it in on your calculator correctly. Let's go back to our calculator. Let me move it over here. All right, so what is it? So what do we have here? 8 times sine of 30 equals, divide that by sine of 55 equals, and we get a side length of 4.88. Always round correctly to 2 decimal places. 4.88 is my little a. So I'm going to go back up to little a. I'm going to put in 4.88. All right, now you help me out here. Let's figure out what our third missing angle is. 55 plus 30. 55 plus 30 is 85. Now 180 take away 85 is what? 7, carry the 1, 5, carry 95 degrees. So our missing angle is 95 degrees. Okay, hopefully you can do that pretty easily. All right, now we're going to do the exact same thing with law of sines, but now we're going to use the B's. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my problem here. I'm going to change my color. We're going to now do our C's still, sine of 55 equal over 8 is equal to, now we're going to do our B's though, so sine of 95 all over little b. Okay, we're going to cross multiply again. 8 times sine of 95 equals sine of 55 times b. And how do I get b by itself? Well, I have to divide by sine of 55 again, sine of 55 again. Remember, that's 1. So now once again we have a simple calculator problem that you should be able to do pretty easily. And let's do it now, and then we're pretty much done. All right, so on top, 8 times sine of 95, enter, divided by sine of 55, enter. I get 9.729, so 9.73. 9.73. All right, so I go back up to the top. Little b is 9.73. So what we've done now is found every angle, every side, and we use the law of sines to do this. Okay, that wraps it up. Tomorrow on the next section we'll be looking at the donkey postulates. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. I will see you tomorrow, and have a good night.